You're listening to the Just Wins podcast, where we discuss winners, black bookers, and much more. Enjoy the show.
Can he do it? Chautauqua, he's flying! Yes! There's history!
But a champion becomes a legend! Makoni Debra's won it! The pride of Australia is the greatest show on earth.
We're up to podcast number 6 for Saturday, the 6th of May, and it's Stradbroke Day. How good. Looking forward to this one. I'm your host, Just Wins, and we've got the boys on board. Adam, how are we going this week?
Great, thank you, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not bad. 10 Lee, you there?
Yeah, mate, I'm very good. Very good.
How'd you go last week, Lee?
Oh, frustrating, mate. I think, what did we get? 6 horses to give out, 3 seconds and a winner, and a fourth as well. And I think all seconds were beaten inside ahead, 2 by the nostril. Yeah. Anyway, it is what it is, mate. There's not much you can do. And the Caulfield was awful. Like, you had to. I mean, they put the rail at 9 meters, and you still had to be 5 or 6 horses off the inside. Like, I can't work that out. So
yeah, Melbourne's been very difficult lately. You have to really. It's hard for the punters that post up before it actually starts because there's a lot of track bias going on, and you had a tip Liberate that it'll be winning soon, and it just hit the front too early, I think, and got swept on at the end. But you got out with Dawn Passage in Brisbane, which is good to see. And yeah, so onwards and upwards this week.
Liberate was really good because it come again on the line. Looked like it was probably going to be beaten half a length to a length, but just kept going through the line. So whether that's the winner just switched off or whether she just come again when she fell behind, but yeah, she was really good. So I'm definitely keen to keep following her.
Yeah, time will tell. And Adzi, you got a winner there in Sydney last week.
Yes, we got the best bet up. Anders won quite well for us in the first there. So yeah, got a bit of profit for the day. Our other bet, we only were left with 2 bets after the scratching of Il Wendo, but the other bet, Sally's Day, was quite ordinary. She probably didn't handle the heavy track. Probably look for her on soft and or better in the future. Nothing in the stewards reports there. No, nothing that I saw. So I think it's quite down to the wet track. Yeah, she's bred to handle it. So who knows?
Exactly.
Got
to come to the end of the prep. Who knows? But from me, Top Prospect was pretty average. I was pretty disappointed, but I was quite happy with September Run. There was a couple of fist pumps when it went to the front and controlled it. Quality ride, and then yeah, Dawn Passage. Me and Lee got the tip up at the end and won quite convincingly. But can he do it this week in the Stradbroke? I'm a bit disappointed, boys. We're in isolation. We've got to watch it at home on the TV because this is usually our big time of year. We're usually on the gas and punting away in the Burnborough bar. But otherwise, let's get some tips up and let's get some banner going. I think I've just done a few notes about the Stradbroke as I like to look back at previous years. Trekking's got a bit against it this year with the 58 kilos. The last 7 editions haven't seen a horse carry more than 55.5 kilos, and that was Santa Ana Lane 2 years ago. Renier's trying to emulate Trekking's form, going through the Luskin Scar into the Stradbroke. That's the same as Luskin Star as well. Don't worry about what I just said. However, Renier doesn't have such a big weight drop as Trekking did that year, and that year was red hot form. And there was a bit of conjecture about the barrier draw on Tuesday afternoon. I don't see much of it, like especially at Eagle Farm over that distance. It's not a big detriment to be out wide. With the last 4 occasions, the winners have been from barriers 8, 13, 15 and 16, but I don't know. It's that's all history, and tomorrow's a mystery. What do you guys think about the race, and what's your tips? We'll start with Adam.
Well, you're not going to believe who I'm tipping, boys, but yeah, very, very excited for the Stradbroke this week. Good to see.
You're going to tip Graf, aren't you?
No, I'm not going to tip Graf. I'm going to tip something worse than Graf. Yeah, very excited for the Straddy, mate. As you said, it's our bread and butter. We love this day. So
you're going to walk down?
It's good. Mate, I might poke my head over the fence. Walk the dog down and poke my head over the fence. See the jump, but no, I'm actually going to have something on Kementari, believe it or not. You're going to laugh, but I have looked into this quite hard, and I think he's well weighted, 55.5. As Blake just said, nothing's won with over 55.5. And I think he gets in well at 55.5. But if you look at his last run, I know he always finds excuses, but I just couldn't look past the $20 on offer, because last start he missed the kick, was way too far back. He was actually last turning for home. He had no room at all in the straight and hit the line really well. Wasn't beaten too far. So I'm going to back him each way. I also looked into the fact, you notice he has a gear change this week with the winkers off. The last time the Godolphin team took the winkers off was back in his 3-year-old season, early in the autumn. They took them off for his first up run. And as we know, he went on a great run there where he won, I think, the Eskimo Prince, Hobartville, and also the Randwick Guineas in succession before running a gallant third to Winkson of George Ryder. So I think that might make him maybe attack the line for once, maybe surprise himself and attack the line well. And I also think from the gate, Ryan Maloney's going to have plenty of options. He'll sit a bit handier this time, hopefully no worse than midfield with a bit of cover, and hopefully can unleash that finishing burst we haven't seen in a while.
I would have thought the winkers off again isn't much of a gear change compared to having his old Jats crackers off before the start of this prep, and he hasn't produced much. So we'll see what happens on the weekend, eh?
We'll wait and see, mate. But yeah, I'm expecting a decent run.
All right, so that's probably half a unit each way on Kementari, Addy?
Yeah, that's what I was looking for, mate. Half a unit each way.
Righto, no worries. And Lee, what do you think of that?
I don't know what he's thinking, but anyway, I'm going to be a Tommy 2-bet, and I'm going to have something. I'm just going to have a nibble at something at a big price, as well as have a better on one of the favoured runners. So I'd have half a unit each way on Victorium. I'm filthy at it last start, but anyway, that's the way it goes. We're in the quaddie until it decided to lob up at any old price and drifted out the market. Was average in the start before, but anyway, they've obviously done something right, and it comes through, the right sort of form line and beat half the sort of field, I guess, in that previous start as well, and attacked the line really well, gets in really well at 52.5 kilos, and drawn perfectly. It's probably the best draw out of all the favoured sort of runners, or the runners in the market under $20. Probably the best draw for them. So I'm pretty happy to back it. And the one I'm going to back it at a bit of a price has cracked me up at 40s. I'll just have 0.25 or something like that each way on that. Thanks, mate. But hasn't won in a long time, 2 years or something like that. But I thought this last one was really good. It was only a length off Snips and Grey Worm, and we know that's pretty handy form because Grey Worm's as honest as they come down in Sydney, and it got right back to last 11 lengths. I think it was about 9 or 10 lengths on straightening, and end up only being beaten a length. And I think Snips on that day as well sat just behind a hot speed. So I think there's plenty of merit in that run. It's changed trainers now to Bjorn Baker. Gets in like 52.5. Nice barrier. Has won at Eagle Farm prior. I know, it just ticks a few boxes for me. And at 40-1, it could be the type of horse that just lobs up in this sort of race. So
yeah, it's a nice little pickup ride for Justin Huxtable there at $41 and $11 a place. And Victorium at $8.50. It was like you were reading it off my page right in front of me, Lee. Is that all you got?
Yeah, that's all I got. But,
all right.
Yeah, mate,
okay.
Just the 2 bets, yeah.
Okay, well, I don't know. This is like Dawn Passage last week. I've got Victorium on top at $8.50. My first line cost us the quaddie last start of producing a buck jumping display. And then the next starter was first out of the gates in the Victory Stakes and was restrained just better than midfield. And it really powered through late and did it quite easily to the eye. Barrier 6 on Saturday. Duplessis jumps off, but the only reason why he jumps off is because he was already on Outback Barbie before the prep started. But last start, he actually came off and he said I can't remember who was the commentator at the time, but he said, the horse has had a bit of a blow today, and he's got some improvement going into next start, which is, a great sign that he's winning like that, and he wasn't fully fit Dale Smith's ridden him in previous preps up here when they were at Doomben, and drops 4 kilos off the win. So I think he'll position somewhere, 5th, 6th, one off the fence, maybe even one more pair back, and power through late. I've got Dawn Passage in for second. Dropped 7 kilos. This gun colt. He's drawn wide, but there's not a lot of inside pace inside of him, and should roll to the lead or one back. I've got a couple of queries on him. It's his first go at Eagle Farm, and he's 6th up this prep for such a young colt. So there's a couple of queries if you want to take the $5. And we got Nicanova in third at decent each way odds. I think he's about $23 at the moment. Love to see a Darling Downs horse win. His trainer Steve Tregea owns and trains him, so he'll be loving it if it gets up and produce that flashing light run in the Victory Stakes. He did over race a bit in that race, but it's mainly because he had blinkers on, and also he was a touch fresh. So if James Allman can really get over him this time and get him to settle, I think he'll be flashing late. And I've got my old mate trekking in for 4th, carries the grandstand. He's in peak form, but he's got to do it tough. So my play for this week is I'm just going to back the overs. I'm going to have 0.75 units a win on Victorium at $8.50, and I want to have a quarter of a unit on Nicanova at $23. So let's get them over the line. I can't see Kevin Tari winning, Adzi, but we'll see.
We'll see, mate. You'll be hopefully some egg on your face come next podcast.
Yeah, that's it. It's happened before. Don't worry about that. All right, let's go to race 7, the other Group 1 on the card. We've got the JJ Atkins. It's back to the 1,400 metres this year, which was previously the mile, and they used to call it the TJ, as some of us on here got wrong this time. Therefore, it's difficult to sort of get a lead-in prep type of feel about the race. Where are they coming from? What's the best way to get into it? But what we know is the Southerners have the edge over the Queenslanders. I think there will be a ton of pace in this, as you'd expect. We got Rothfire and Wisdom of Water coming across, and they'll light it up, absolutely light it up, especially if Wisdom of Water pulls its head off again. The query's the 1,400 metres for me. If they both go too hard, they've got to be very, very good horses to keep going. I know they are very good horses, but in a crap field, you're going to have to be on top of your game. I think I'm tipping Makura at the $7. I want to just have half a unit win on it. I think it'll lob in a gun spot just behind that speed, and she really dominated that listed Woodlands race over the 1,100, and she beat some quality horses. She beat Marbusha, which was unbeaten at that time, and Panacotta, who was only 0.7 of a length off September Run on Saturday. So that's really handy form. So I have a half unit there, and I just want to have a little trickle of money, 0.25 unit each way on Minji at $51 as a big blowout. It's won that one race against Rothfire, and then the last 2 races have been okay. Just hasn't been switching on during the run, but they put some winkers on this weekend. And once she got steadied up and went last start, if you watch the replay, she went over the line, probably not fully extended. So 1,400 a suit, and at $51, I've got to have a cracker on her each way. What do you think, Adam?
I'm in 100% agreement with Makura, mate. I'm going to have 2 bets in this, and one of those is going to be half a unit each way in Makura. Pretty much echo your thoughts. Obviously, first time to 1,400, but she's out of a Zabeel mare, so I don't feel that'll pose any problems. So
I think she's a schnitzel out of a Zabeel mare.
That's correct.
She's got some things going for her.
Yeah, so she's very promising, as you said, and from the gate draws to do no work, not far off the speed, and as you said, I've got the same doubts on a few up in the market, such as Rothfire, Wisdom of Water, Isotope. I feel they're quite unlikely to get the strong 1,400. So Makura is my first bet. And then my second bet, you may remember from a couple of weeks ago, I tipped this horse and it got scratched, and that's number 4, Not an Option. I feel it can run a race, gets the blinkers the first time. Instead of running in that race 2 weeks ago, they sent him around for a trial. He trialled well. Draws to to do no work, and with the blinkers on, he's not going to get anywhere near as far back as what we've seen in those last 2 runs down in Sydney. So I feel he'll probably be around midfield. And I thought in that last run about 7 weeks ago when he was in the Champagne Stakes, he just got way too far back. There was basically 2 groups of horses. He was in the second group. The front group had bolted, and yeah, he was held up, and got some room late and really attacked the line. And I feel if he was ridden a bit closer there, he might have even been in the finish. So I feel that's good form for this race. So I'm going to have half a unit on him, half a unit each way, on him as well as Makura.
No worries. And so Makura is 7 and 250, and not an option is $15 and $4.20. Lee, you going with the 2 guns up front?
I found it really hard to get a read on this race. Obviously Rothfire is probably the class, but strong 1400, barrier 14, good luck. Wisdom Water, I think there's big question marks over the form, especially you watch Super Rare and Tick Tick Boom last start. Tick Tick Boom was good, but in a very, very weak field. Super Rare fell in at $1.20, so I think there's some big question marks over that form, and obviously a question mark over him running a 1400 because he does plenty wrong. I'm not as confident as you boys on Makura. I'm just not sure where she gets to in the run. I think there's a fair bit of speed out wide, so they'll come across and she might just get bundled away, maybe 7th or 8th in the ruck, and might be a bit unlucky. Isotope's also in the market. I'm very, very wary of her not running out 1200, let alone 1400. So it's tough to get a read on the race. So I'm gonna have a couple of small bets in it. I'm gonna echo the opinion that Adzi had on not an option. I think it's got some really good form lines, and we've seen it can run out this sort of trip, drawn to get no work. And if you look at runs back in New Zealand, I think it's settled 4th and 3rd or something like that. So I think it might be, probably in that front half, and might get the opportunity to get one off the rail from that. That's what I'm sort of banking on from barrier 3, and I'm banking on Makura might be tucked in just next to it on the rail, and 3rd up. And like Adzi sort of spoke about, rather than running in that race, went for a trial, won that trial, and looked good in it. So I think at $15, it's a good price to have, half a unit each way. The other one we're going to have a small, quarter of a unit on each way is Thundermania, number 6. I think it's a bit underrated in the market. Its only defeat so far was the King's Legacy, and we know how good that form's been. And that was it just got too far back and just didn't run on, couldn't match it with a couple of class runners there. Went for a spell then. Really nice trial, but then it's come out and won both, and has looked impressive in doing so. I think it should get a good run from the gate. Won a trial just recently, just to keep him ticking along. And like I said, I think he's just a bit underrated, and probably a horse that a lot of people will look over rather than looking at. And I think he'll get the 1400. He's already run at 1400, and I think he's definitely a 1400 metre horse. So I want to have a quarter of a unit each way on it at $26.
Yeah, he's $26 and $7.50, and he really attacked that line first up. Larry Cassidy stays on it. We'll emulate the likes of Capital Gain for the Queenslanders in the local JJ Atkins Group 1. All right, we'll go into Adam this time, and Adam got his best bet up last week with Anders destroying them. Got a couple this week, I hear, Adam?
Yes, I've got only a couple this week at a bit of value, actually. I won't say I've got a best bet, but two best values. The track this week, we're at Royal Randwick, heavy 8. Clear weather at the moment, expected until Saturday. So I'm again hoping we get into the soft range. Hopefully a 6, probably a 7. We'll wait and see on that. But that's what I've done my form for. Rails out 9 metres throughout. So that's always a little bit of a worry. But I found a couple at good prices that we can back each way. And the first one comes up in race 5. And that is number 6, Tony's Reward for Bjorn Baker and Nash Rawiller. This horse goes really well first up. I think he's won 3 of 6 first up, and this is his first run since February. He's had a trial behind Classic Legend. He runs second there. That last start before a spell, I was on him. He was heavily backed, and he went quite poorly. Obviously, they turned him straight out for a spell, so I assumed something was amiss. It was also his first run in the blinkers that start, so that might have had something to do with it as well. And they've taken the blinkers off for this start. So feel he's a really strong chance. And if you look back a couple of starts before he went for a spell there over the track and distance, Randwick 1200, he actually ran a close-up third behind Embracer and Superior. I feel that form is far superior to what he's up against here today. So I'm hopeful he'll show his best first up and we can back him each way.
Yeah, so you're having half a unit each way there?
Yes, correct. Thank you.
Half a unit each way at $12 and $3.60 to knock off Burning Crown. What do you got next, mate?
And then the next one's race 8. I've backing a couple of milk drinkers this week, so we could get ourselves into trouble, but they've all got to win sometime. So this one's number 11 in race 8, Deal Maker for Waller and Abdullah. Last start on a heavy track, they dropped him back to 1400. He got well back. It's pretty much last turning for home in the race behind Man of Peace. He didn't have much clear room and was doing his best work late. I feel up to 1600 is a big plus. Plus, he also prefers the track a little bit better than heavy. So hopefully, again, we get that soft surface. The start previous to his last, he was over the track and distance there, second to Grand Piano. He actually carried 3.5 kilos more than Grand Piano, and I do have a strong opinion of Grand Piano. So I feel with a good gate, he should get midfield, a bit of cover, not as far back as last start, and should be strong late. Just as a staking option, as I said, he's got a hell of a record of running a place, this horse. So I'm going to have 1/4 of a unit to win and 3/4 of a unit to run second or third.
Safe option there, Adzi. And yeah, there's been a trickle of money on him already. So let's hope the milk drinkers can turn it into champagne this weekend.
That's what we're after.
That's what we're after. Lee, what do you got in Flemington there, mate?
Flemington, so it's marked as a soft 6 at the moment, but I highly doubt we'll be on that. There's no rain expected, just a little bit of cloud cover. So, and as I've said previously, Flemington usually drains pretty good, especially if there's no rain on the day. So, got to hope that there's no rain on the day there because I've done form for a soft 5 or a good 4. So we'll see how we go. Rail 8 metres doesn't usually have too much of an effect on Flemington, but I didn't think rail being out, I thought it was going to have an effect at Caulfield last start, so you never know. So I've got 3 bets there, 1 best bet and 2 at value. So let's see how we go there. I'm going to start off the day early and hopefully start off the day right. First tip's going to be in race 1, number 1, Prezado. I can't believe we're not getting red figures for him. He's coming off 2 wins on the trot, this track and trip, and beat pretty much the same sort of fields. It doesn't really change much, as I said, apart from it's pretty much just a few weaker opponents in there. A couple of things like Milwaukee, Malibu style, those sort of runners sort of drop off, and we're left with a pretty shallow sort of field. Draws perfectly today, or on Saturday, to go inside or outside from barrier 5. And Willow's a track walker as well, so no doubt he'll be out there with his stick 3 hours early and having a plot as to where he's going to run, where he wants to be. And interest. Hey?
Loves a prod. Old Willow.
Loves a prod. Yep. And he also jumps off from within, which I think is very noteworthy, who's in the same race as well. So, and jumps onto Prezado. So I think that's a good lead. And you won't get many with a better record at the Flemington 1,000 metres either. He's 4 from 8 and he's only had 1-5 in his career, and he's 4 from 8 Flemington 1,000. So I think that's a pretty good sign, and I think it's a pretty perfect way to start off the day. So let's have 2 units on Prezado, 260 I think it is at the moment.
Yeah, he's 260 and he was $3 on open, but yeah, as you said, jumping off from within, who's $4 in the market, that's a very good lead. What else have you got, mate?
The next one is race 3, number 8, Dargo, around $14 and $3.50, $3.60 a place. Looks a real good up-and-coming stayer. He's building a good, genuine record already and finds a suitable race with sort of similar horses as to him, who are fresh into it, haven't really hit 2,000 yet, whereas he has. And the form around his runs prior have been solid enough, and anything 2,000 metres plus as he go looks like a real staying type. He was good last start, running home late to just miss, and will take benefit from that as he was first up. He's been a subsequent winner out of that race as well, so the form stands up. And all his starts, 2,000 metres plus, he has settled in the front half, which I thought was really interesting because I believe in this sort of race, not a whole heap of speed on paper. I think that's exactly where you need to be, because I believe it'll be a tempo-related race. It's quite hard to lead the whole way at Flemington in sprint races. It gets a bit easier 2,000 metres plus. I think we're talking about protests the other day. That might have just been with you, Adzi, but I was talking about bloody Awesome Rock got done for me in the Australian Cup, leading the whole way of 2,000 metres, and he was a dead set cat, but looked the only pace in the race, and they couldn't get past him, but, whatever. I didn't get the winner on that day, but that's the way it goes. So
milk drinkers of the past.
How salty is he?
Yeah, I'm still salty.
He's
anyway,
a stallion now, mate. He might
Is he?
keep on going. Yeah, he might keep on going with the progeny. So you never know.
Yeah, loved a second. But anyway, so just made a note that best horse might not necessarily win. I think it might be the best ride type of race. And in this, we've got a good gate and a good senior jockey. So I think it sets up perfectly for him. Barrier 7, I'm predicting probably will sit front half. So maybe, anywhere from 3rd to 5th. And I think he's the type of horse that will really appreciate a big straight at Flemington as well. In his previous runs over sort of 2,000 metres plus, he's been at tracks like Mornington, and he's made really long sustained runs. So I think Flemington's the right track for him, and this is sort of perfect race for him and a good each way price. And I think he'll go on to some good, some handy enough sort of staying races in future. Just written a note down that he's a potential sort of Adelaide Cup type horse. So we'll see what he does in future. But I think he can be winning this and run a big race. So I'd like to have $1 each way on Dargo.
I go at $14 and $4 for 1 unit each way. The unit is $1 in at least terms, but whatever you guys out there want to bet.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever you guys out there want to bet, you got to get the units right. Whatever. Doesn't matter what size it is. It's up to you. And your third tip there, Lee?
Did I say $1 each way, did I?
Yeah, mate. Yeah. Well, it's a bit bigger than your 50 cents each way, but...
Big punter.
And then race 7, number 7, I'm going to have a crack at Southern Rock. We've spoken about this guy before. I think you said something about it, Adzi, a couple of runs in his first start in Australia. I thought its form wasn't that bad, and it reads just fair on paper, but I think he had some excuses, and he's big enough price in this to have a crack at. So, like last start, first up, he was wide on speed, and there's been a subsequent win out of that race as well in Mahamadeus, who won on the weekend, and he was only 2 lengths off that, and had a torrid run, and I think there was real merit in that, and then was excellent last start out in the lead from wide gate. They just had to send him forward, and there was already a bit of tempo in the race as well. And he was good late. Like, he was headed off at the 300 by 3 or 4 horses, and he just kept kicking. And all the other horses that settled in the front 6, so he led, and everything behind that ran 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, and 14th, which I think adds plenty of merit. So he beat anything else in the top 6 by, I think, 3.5 lengths or more. So I think there's a fair bit in that run, and that was I think it's 1,600, 1,700. So yeah, I think now third up and fitter, back on dry ground, I think it's a big plus. All his form back home has been on dry ground. He gets out further in trip, good gate, and should give him his best winning chance of winning in Australia. And I think with the speed on paper in this, I think it's pretty similar to last start, how it sets up, but he's got a way better draw this time. I'm predicting he'll probably sit between 4th and 6th. And get a sweet run from the draw. And I think this might be a tempo sort of related race as well. So I think we get the perfect run from the draw in this. And $18 and $5. I'm happy to have half a unit each way on him.
Yeah, $18 and $5 for half a unit each way. And yeah, stepping up in distance will definitely help. Thanks very much, Lee. And hopefully one of those gets over the line and you'll be well in front then for the day. Let's go back to Eagle Farm, and I've got 2 tips and a bit of a throw at the stumps while I'm at it. I've got race 4, Red Stina. I'm not jumping off her. She's a gun. She's $2.70. I'll have her for 1.25 unit win. I think $2.70 is a fair price. She probably should be unbeaten. They took the blinkers off a couple of runs back, and she got nutted on the line by Tokariki Lad, and then won like an absolute gun last start for us. She was well back at Eagle Farm, where you needed to be close to the speed. and she drifted out in price as the bookies have been doing. But Steph Thornton got going on her early and encircled him and just absolutely put him away. She dropped 3.5 kilos off that, which is a weight swing against her rivals. I think the only horse that can probably beat her, if there's going to be one on weights and ratings, is Gresham, who's got that high rating and comes off a good win last start at the Gold Coast in a higher grade. It was at the tail off a slow tempo, however, cut the corner and saved plenty of ground. So, I'm not saying it'll definitely be up there. I'm not sure if it was 20-1 that day. So there's a couple of queries over that run, but obviously going well, but hopefully Red Stina can get the job done again and keep our winning ways going. Race 6, I've got Ballistic Boy at $2.90. Another one for 1.25 units wins. Was the unfancied of the stablemates with Empire Games in the Chris Anderson stable, but missed in a head bobber behind Supergiant, which we were happy about at the time in the quaddie because we had Supergiant going. He really powered home late, and I think that comes from the stoutness from his dam side being by High Chaparral. There's a bit of pace in this with Supergiant again going forward, and you've got the Waterhouse train Navy Cross, who will definitely go forward and lead. He'll position somewhere midfield, hopefully one off the fence. The extra 400 metres, he'll be right up there and hopefully get the job done for us. If they do go super ballistic, I just want to have a little peanut each way on Bold Delago, who I think will probably be 200-1 top total on the day. I'll have a 0.125 unit each way. I thought its effort in the gun sin behind Supergiant was outstanding. It was 3 wide, no cover the entire race, and Canane was behind it, using him as a bit of a bunny. And he boxed on evenly, and I can't remember if he ran 6 lengths behind the winner, but I thought it was an excellent effort considering how it settled. Its previous run over 2,070 metres finished within a length of Empire Games, and Empire Games is about 20-1 on the weekend. I don't think he can win, but at the same time, I have to have a couple of peanuts each way on it at just crazy odds, and I'd hate if I missed it because I'll never let you have to do it. So that's it for me at Eagle Farm, and I thought I don't have anything around the grounds this weekend, but we'll go to Lee and just check if he's got something at Perth like he usually does.
Yeah, I've actually got 2 at Perth.
All right.
And a little nibble on something at Adelaide because I like backing her. But the 2 at Perth is actually pretty good days racing in Perth. You've got the Raconteur Stakes, and there's a couple of good 3-year-olds in that. There's a couple other good horses running around. But the first bet I'm going to have in Perth is race 5, number 1, KC. She's the gun 3-year-old, won the Kingston Town last start. She ran, I think, 2nd or 3rd in the Guineas behind Tuscan Queen. Has phenomenal form over there. I'm surprised I haven't bought her over east, but obviously circumstances permitted. She might get there next campaign or in the spring, or we'll see what happens. She resumes in this, and she was really good in her 2 trials before this. But more importantly, I think this is the overall reason that swung me this way. She's a superior class in the race, and she fits in perfectly with set weights and penalties. She's 14 rating points ahead of the next runner, and she only has half a kilo extra on that. I think there's even horses sub 60 rating. She's a 102 rater. So this is the type of race that she can win. A small field. She'll probably get back, and pretty confident that she can run over the top of them. I know Laborod has the fitness, but I think Casey's just got way too much class, and she'll be winning some more Group 1s in the future. So happy to have a unit on her at $3.40.
That's right, $3.40, yep.
And then race 6, the next one, I'm also going to go the toppy, number 1, Massimo. Been following this horse for a while, and he's as genuine as they come. He's been 1st or 2nd in all bar 2 of his 10 starts to date, so he's always constantly around the mark. He's got good form around the top line 3-year-olds as well, and Laborod and a couple other sort of horses. And he's been working up to win this prep with, I think, 4th and 2 seconds. He's back to 1,200. Just looked like he didn't really want the 1,400 last start. The 1,200 should be perfect for him. Will be up close to speed, good gate, pikey, and I'm pretty confident he can be winning this. I think the danger in the race, Black Ducati, needs 1,400. and the step back and trip won't suit it at all. And the other one, Sir Mumbo's a bit of a milk drinker himself, so hopefully it doesn't come back to bite me in the butt. But Massimo, I think, perfect opportunity for him to win a race in this at $2.70.
Yeah, Pikey will get it over the line for you, mate. $2.70 for a unit. And what do you got in Adelaide?
Just a small nibbler in race 6, number 4, Exalted Loretta. She's $21 and about $5 a place. I just want to have a quarter of a unit each way on her. I'm always a fan of backing Grant Young. I think he's just has his horses somehow just up fit all the time, and they're usually up and give themselves every single chance. So we know exactly what we're going to get from this horse. She'll rock up every start and give her all. This is a 23rd start for the prep, and that's exactly how Grant Young likes to race his horses. And so far this prep, she's only finished 5 lengths or further from the winner in all bar 3 runs of the campaign. So in her 20 starts, at the 23, she's finished 5 lengths or closer to the winner. So she's just been there or thereabouts. She'll be up on speed. The rail's out there at Morphettville as well, so I think on-speed runners will be suited. Usually at Morphettville Parks, they're generally suited regardless. But rail out, I think that'll suit perfectly. Todd Panel's also got 3 placings from 4 rides on her, and he strikes at 15% for the yard. So I think there's just a few things in her favour at this, and I think some of the favourites actually have a few convictions. They're just not quite as genuine as her. She'll just give us every chance on the speed, so I'm happy to have, like I said, quarter of a unit each way on her.
Yeah, she's $21 at $4.30, and there's been a touch of money there for her. Thanks, Lee, for that around the grounds. Adam, you got anything, mate?
Yeah, just a quick one, mate. Also at Morphettville, race 5, number 2, Lombardo for Mick Price and Stubby Holder. This horse, obviously heads over after a couple of runs in Melbourne this prep. Got the blinkers on the first time. Last start on the heavy track at Flemington. It ran on strong behind Roccabascarana. Obviously that form is superior to what he faces here. First up, he was disappointing as a short price favourite, but he crabbed around the corner and just didn't handle Werribee whatsoever. So I'm feeling on a better track. It's not going to be as heavy this week. Probably good 4, soft 5, up to 1,300. Expect him to sit just behind the pace, no worse than midfield with the blinkers on, and I think he'll be a bit good for these. So I want to just back him to win.
I hope he's better than a bit good. I hope he's better than that. So Lombardo at $2.70. And no more crabbing around the corner.
That's it. One unit to win.
1 unit to win. All right, guys. Well, that is a bumper edition, and so it should be. We're Queensland boys, and we love our Stradbroke Day. And hopefully this time next year we'll be down there again. But for the time being, and the punters out there, have a beer at home, and have a ripper day and make some money. Have a crack. Have a bloody crack. All right, guys. Don't hold back. That's it. And for those guys that shouted out about a summary, you're probably not listening to this podcast. But this week I'm going to put something out probably just before race 1 because, we want people to listen to the podcast. And, if they put in the time, they should get the rewards with getting these prices that we're getting early. And then, after next week, you never know what will happen. But, stay tuned. Give us a shout out. We love your feedback and good luck on the weekend. Thanks, boys. Talk to you next week.
Talk to you then.
Thanks, mate.
Okay,
Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, share, and get involved in the comments. Best of luck and happy punting.
Can he do it? Chautauqua, he's flying! Yes! There's history!
But a champion becomes a legend. McCartney Dever has won it. The pride of Australia is the greatest show on earth.